What's up, guys? Hiding inside this tent is something pretty incredible. You guys are gonna really love this. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Let's just open her up and see. Hell yeah! Check this out. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This truly is a 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner. This car is immaculate. Original paint, original metal, and this baby is coming home with me and Alex. You guys remember a little ways back on our YouTube channel, kind of where we started doing stuff together. We went over to Rogers and we stripped down the 383. This is the car that engine was supposed to be for. Alex's parents picked up this car and her dad secured that 383 from a different vehicle to go into this car to remake it into a nice 383 Roadrunner. And so that engine, though it's not numbers matching an original to this car, it is an original 383 from that era. I'll throw a link up top here and you guys can watch that video if you want and see us strip down that engine. It's a really good core, really good candidate, and that's what can go right back into this car. And honestly, I think that's probably what we're gonna do. Something else pretty special hiding right here, Fender tag. And this car does additionally have the title still to it as well. So here's all of our data right there. Looks like I was right, guys. GY3, that stands out right away to me, and that is the curious yellow color, which you still see dressed all over this car beautifully. Look at all the raccoon paw prints on the windshield. Yeah, there's that nice 383 emblem here on the hood, and man, this hood is in such good shape. But let's get back to the Fender tag. So let me see here if I can try and remember to decode some for you. So the N41 meant dual exhaust, which is pretty cool, and making sense that it's a 383 Roadrunner, 300 horsepower car. That RM23 means that it is an actual Roadrunner, and the 23 meaning hardtop, which you can see here. There is no B-pillar going down in between the driver door glass and then the rear glass. So it is an actual RM23 Roadrunner car. The R11 is a solid state AM radio. B1X meant that it had a black vinyl top, and you guys can see that the top has got some paint on it right now. As I get back in the car, you'll see the little studs back there on the quarter for the molding that separated the vinyl top and the body color of the car. Yeah, I think a couple other things I'm trying to remember. E65 was 383 4-barrel. A52 was interior hood release, and the M21 was drip rail molding. So a lot of cool information here still captured on that piece of originality for the car. But yeah, man, look at this thing. Let's get a little better look around the rest too. You can even see the K-frame, how clean it is. Those front frame rails in beautiful condition. Underneath this battery box usually rusts out on a lot of Mopars. Let's see what it looks like here. Wow, even that is solid. That is so cool. These interior engine panels typically get a lot of rot, and that spot right there will just rust out, like on my Super B. That is so neat. It's a little tight working here through the shelter, but you guys can get a look at her. Roadrunner. And here's what I was talking about, those studs, where this trim would go along the way to kind of separate the vinyl top and the body color of the car. This is her, and it comes with a spare roof because I think I was noticing there's a little bit of an issue here with the metal here at the front. And I think this is kind of why my father-in-law had purchased this roof, to kind of patch in and replace what's going on here along this window channel. Looks a little beat up. I have to look at the other side still. Door doesn't want to open, but that's all right. Got the original Plymouth steering wheel still in there with that beep beep right there. How cool is that? And gauges, the whole dash complete. Weathered, of course, for this age of car, but it's there. Headliner's gone, that's typical. Still has all the door glass, door panels, rear seat. I'm just gonna need some front seats pretty much, but look at these floors, holy crap. Usually these diagonal structural lines on the floor are rotted out. Not in this case at all. Column shift as well. Man, you can even see that little AM radio still chilling right there. Some extra door glass, or maybe that's one of the pieces of glass for the one I'm hiding in right now. And just some trim for the front windows and a couple other little odds and ends. This thing is just an absolute gem. Coming down to the bottom, looking at these frame rails here. Again, not really surprised from what we saw up front. Such good shape, so solid. Underneath the car, let's get this light up. There we go. Look at those frame rails. Beautiful structure in this car. Underneath, super clean. And to the rear frame rails here, also looking so good. Looks like we've got the old trusty 8 3/4 for a rear end, and some slapper bars on there. Heck yeah. We can be doing burnouts in no time. I have to go and just look at what the number is here on the rear. I can't see it from now. But probably a 742 casing, maybe a 741. Let's see what we got for brakes up front. Looks like the original drums, so that's cool. Drums all the way around, nothing wrong with that. I also see a heater motor, I'm just noticing too. And sorry guys, total squirrel here, but you know, just looking at a car for the first time, just picking apart what I'm seeing with my own 2 eyes. Got some radiator, original Chrysler radiator details here on this sticker, and typically somewhere along here on this radiator core support, you'll have the VIN number stamped along it too. I'm having trouble finding it here on the core support. May not be in this year of 71 that they had it here on the core support, right here underneath the cowl between the wiper motor and the master cylinder. And yeah, what do you know? There is VIN stamping. So 106275, 106275. I mean, we already know it just by looking at this car, how original it is. Not really questioning it at all, but it's just kind of cool to look at all these little pieces of its DNA and kind of decode a car and think about what it was. And actually seeing one in this condition is pretty rare. You don't really see many cars these days available as a project car that are still in their original form without different paint jobs, guys that have put 3 different colors on it over the last 30, 40 years, different engines, this and that. This thing is pretty much a time capsule, and that's super cool. Looking down here on the passenger side, pardon the leaves, it's just so clean. I mean, the body on this car, it is nearly mint. There is nearly no rust at all. The paint, I bet Alex and I could buff this thing out and have it still shine pretty good, and we might just do that. Have this thing running and driving, not even have to do paint and body work other than a repair here on the roof. And if we choose to vinyl top it, that's super easy. Just spray a little black and put the vinyl right over it. We won't even have to worry about color matching to the rest of the car. Now I see why my father-in-law got this roof for sure. You can see a little bit of a crack here where someone had made a repair at one point with probably body filler and some rust underneath here where this factory seam for the roof skin meets the rest of the quarter panel. And what's interesting too, I haven't looked at a 71 in quite a while. On B bodies from like my 69 Roadrunner, for example, the seam is usually a little bit more around here, but it's way higher up in these years. So that's what the spare roof will really come in handy for. The only cosmetic issue on this car is this dent here in this passenger rear quarter. And honestly, it's not too bad. It kind of follows into the side marker light, which will be a little bit of job to get out, but luckily I'm a pretty decent body man. Might be able to have my go at knocking this thing out from the inside and getting it pretty good, and then we can still buff this car and have it looking amazing. But holy crap, look at the metal on this thing. Like down here, lower quarter panel behind the rear tires, typically always rotted out. This would be filled with dirt, dust, and debris, salt, crap over the last 50 something years, and these things just rot out. No, not on this one. Look at the inner quarter too. The structure is just, wow, what a clean car. Look at the frame rail here. This is something else. This is a score. I know for sure that my father-in-law had a good eye when he was picking cars out. This is definitely one of them. All right, so I really need to know what casing's on this third bearings. Look at that, it's a 489. So I forget the production years for the 489, but these third members had a 1 7/8 inch pinion with tapered roller bearings, as compared to the 742 casing, which I think had a 1 3/4. It had the 741 casing, which is 1 3/8. So some people say that the 742 was a little bit stronger because of the different bearings versus the tapered that you get, even though the 489 has got a slightly larger pinion shaft diameter. You still have a different type of bearing, but either way, super strong. what would be really cool is if this thing still has a sure grip in it and we could be doing some burnouts and not have to replace that. So that we'll find out later. Here's a look at the rear bumper too. Tail lens is still in there. I think it's got a California plate on it. It's kind of hard to see right here. What a gem. What an absolute gem. It looks like the tail, looks like the trunk has actually been painted slightly different color. It's a little more tan than the body, but that we can always spray and color match. 1996. Probably the last time I was on the road then. Notice what was right behind my head as I kept moving around inside this shelter. Look at all these wasps. So I think we've seen all we need to see here for now. What else can I really say? This car is amazing. Okay, this Roadrunner is ready to get pushed out, and I am stoked. Let's do it. What do we got? Coming out. This is a 71 Plymouth Roadrunner sitting out here in GY3 Curious Yellow. How freaking cool is that? Heck yeah, man. Good job. Looks pretty damn good.